Hey wig sisters, this is Megan. I'm coming to you with another wig review today. And more than a wig review, today I want to talk a little bit about how do you fix a wig that you put it on and it just doesn't look right. It's poofy, it feels like too much hair, it's falling in your face, because this is a problem that you are going to find with a lot of wigs out of the box. And Belle Tress Vienna Roast is a wig that I have in a different color and have worn before, and when I first got it I hated it, but I bought it from a wig sister, couldn't return it, so I decided I got a good deal on it, let me just go ahead and see if I can make it work, and I did. So I wanted to try out this new color and show you how we're gonna beat this into submission. So stay with me and let's take a look. This is Belle Tress Vienna Roast. It is a heat-friendly fiber, and today we're going to be looking at the color Stardust, which is a color I don't have yet, surprisingly. I have a lot of the fashion colors from Belle Tress and I love them. So she's kind of purple, kind of blue. So I see there's like a really pretty like lilac violet color, and then there are some pieces that look a little bit more of like a royal blue, and then there are some pieces that look almost gray or like a really ashy blonde. Now the root on this wig is like a medium brown in this light, but I can tell you that in the sunlight it is very warm, because the first time I actually pulled this out and just to look at the color, these roots were reading almost red. They were so warm. So just be aware of that. And let's go ahead and take her out. Sorry, I'm just taking the tags off here. All right, now as always, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the cap first. So Vienna Roast is Belle Tress's kind of standard lace front cap with the mono part. So this is gonna be a left side part, which is standard for Belle Tress. And then the rest of this is of course wefted. And you do have the bra strap extenders, so you can pull these to make the wig a little bit tighter on your head. You can loosen them to make it a little bit more roomy. I have a fairly large head. My head is 22.5 inches around, so I tend to leave them on the loosest setting, which is how they happen to come on this. So, let me turn this back over. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and throw this on. And you can see that right out of the box, this is not super flattering on me, right? I mean, I play with these wig adjusters on the side, these ear tabs, and kind of make it conform to my scalp. So even now, with that done, this is perfectly centered on my head. All of my bio hair is tucked up underneath. This is sitting, there we go, sitting just in front of where my natural hairline is. And it's very like boxy, right? So the first thing that I like to do is just go ahead and make a part. So I'm gonna feel where that monofilament is so that I leave enough room, and I tend to go close to where they have it. But I'm just taking, this is my rat tail comb. I definitely advise everyone to have one of these if you're gonna be having wigs. So just take the rat tail comb and kind of just slink your way back. And we're just gonna pull that out and make a part. So I don't wanna be too close to where the wefting is over here. So let me try that again, because I feel like that was too close. So I'm gonna try to get like right in the middle of where that mono is. You don't have to be in the middle. You can go to either side of it, pretty close to the edge. But for me, I like to just start out in the middle and see what we're dealing with. So once I've got that part, you can see it doesn't want to be there, right? It's all poofy and it wants to go back to where it was, and that's fine. So what I'm going to do is just kind of rake my fingers through and break up these fibers just a little bit, because they always arrive, especially the curly wavy styles, they are kind of wonky sitting in the box, and so they just always look weird when you first take them out. So you can see this is still not laying right? This is not flattering at all. So where I'm gonna begin is I'm gonna take this is just water bottle, and I'm gonna go ahead and spray the hair that is around the hairline and kind of in that part that I just made. And all around the hairline. So just grab this, my wide tooth comb. Everybody needs one of these. You can buy these at Sally's for like $1.99 or something, I think. And I'm just gonna comb through that a little bit to get that sitting further off of my face. And so still, these fibers in the part are wanting to just go everywhere and be poofy and be, you know, more like the way that they were when they came. So I'm gonna hit this with some more water. And then when that's damp, it doesn't have to be soaking wet, I'm going to take this is called a hot comb or a pressing comb, depending on who you're talking to. Mine is made by the brand Kiss. It's called Red by Kiss. You can buy this on Amazon for about $20. And what I like about this one is that it has this digital heat indicator, and it goes down to 270 degrees. So that's the lowest setting, and that's where I like to be when I'm styling my wigs. So that's why I would choose this one over one that doesn't have a low heat or have that customizable heat setting. And so what I'm gonna do with this, it is hot, so be careful. I burn my forehead all the time with this, even having done it a million times. So just be careful. And one thing you wanna be mindful of when you're using a pressing comb is to not get so close to the monofilament that you can actually like make it bubble or warp or shrink, because essentially it's plastic, right? So you don't need to get all the way down to the monofilament with this. So what I'm gonna do is just hold on to my hair around this hairline, and I'm gonna go pretty close to the monofilament, but I'm gonna go in there and then just go up a little and slide my way off. And you can see that I already made this piece get out of my face, okay? And then what I'm gonna do is find my part, and starting towards the back, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing. So I'm lifting up the hair so that I'm not pressing down into the monofilament, but I'm lifting up the hair. I'm going close to where the roots are, but a little bit away so that I don't get into the mono. And then all I'm doing is just doing a light little combing and then letting it go. And you can hear the sizzle because of the water, and that's okay. Essentially what you're getting here is a steamer effect without having to use a steamer. So, and obviously this is better than using a steamer while it's on your head, because that would, I mean, hey, if you wanna live on the wild side, go for it, but that's not in my bag. So, all right, let's go ahead and do the other side. And another thing you can do if you get, I don't know if you can see, I've got like these little wispy ones that want to stick up here. If you get these pieces that just don't want to lay down, you can actually use the back side of the pressing comb. So you can take this once you've got your part set and just go over it. And that helps to smooth it out. Okay, now over here, I need to do the same thing around the hairline because it's floppy, right? So, hang on, I gotta put this down. So what I want to do with that is just go ahead and take my wide tooth comb here. And I'm gonna actually pull this back. And this is just a little clippy thing that I have. So I'm just gonna secure that backwards. You can use a bobby pin, use whatever you want. But I'm gonna do the same thing here where I'm going in, not touching the monofilament, and just raking that upwards so that it's gonna fall away from my face. And then we'll just let that down and see what we got, see what we're dealing with. So that's already a lot better, right? A lot better than when we first took it out of the box. But it still is wanting to fall down. So just doing it in the front there is not enough on this wig because there is so much hair. And let me show you in the cap, it will explain it better. So when you look at the cap and you look at the way the wefts around this part are tied, they're going sideways, right? But they're almost done in this diagonal pattern where they're going forward. So the wefts are tied, they want to go forward, which is into your face, and that's not what you want. So if they were tied backwards, you would be able to see the wefts really well. So that's why they do that, is to hide them. But you don't want this wig in your face all day, so you need to do something to train the wig otherwise. So again, let's throw this on. You're gonna take your ear tabs, make sure that's lined up and centered on your head, over your ears. Press those ear tabs down. Let's see how our part did. Oh look, our part is almost exactly where we put it because we used heat. And so now every time you put the wig on, that's gonna be where the part wants to naturally be. But because of that, because these wefts on the side that aren't hand tied have been tied in this pattern that are facing forward, this wig is going to want to be in your face all the time. So here's what we're gonna do. We've already tried the front, right? And that didn't work enough to really keep this out of my face. Every time I move my head, this whole side is all up in my face and just feels like too much hair, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go all the way back here, probably about like halfway back. And again, I'm gonna use water. I always like to use water when I'm using heat because its steam is more gentle than just dry heat. So again, I'm gonna take that and just brush it back, and you can even use the back of the pressing comb here. All that I'm doing is trying to direct those wefts to go backwards instead of coming forward directly into my face. I'm not doing it aggressively because I don't want to be able to see the wefts. I'm not trying to get rid of all of that. I'm just taking, these partings, getting it wet, and then using that pressing comb to lay it down a little bit. Okay. I'm just putting water in and kind of scrunching it to bring back some of the curl pattern that I've combed out just as a result of doing all this. So just again, using water, Kind of combing this into place where I want it to be. I do have a little bit of shedding here. This is totally normal. This doesn't mean your wig is defective. You can see this little bit just kind of came out. So sometimes when the wefts are sewn in, like the edges are very sheddy. So it's not like sewn down, double sewn all the way around. Sometimes you get a little bit of shedding when you first get a wig, and that is to be expected. If it's shedding a lot, that's a problem, but you know, this little bit is no big deal. So all I'm gonna do is just kind of stretch that out and cut it. It's fine. So get rid of that. All right, so you can see already from where we started that this wig is laying much nicer, right? It's not coming down into my face just because I moved my head anymore. The curls are looking a little bit more natural, and it just doesn't look as wiggy as it did when we started. So if you're new to wigs and styling them freaks you out, you probably can stop here. I have 6 hairdressers in my family and basically grew up in a salon. So I know that I can do more to make this look better on me. And you can do this too. Like, you don't have to be a hairdresser to do it. I would advise you to do it on a wig you don't care about first. If you've got one that's kind of on its way out anyway, use that to play with, use that as your cutting wig. I did ruin wigs in the beginning doing this. So just be mindful of that. You can't cut a wig the way you cut regular hair because it's not the same. Unless you have a fully hand-tied cap that's human hair, it is not the same. So you can't do the same sectioning because the wig, the way that it's sewn into a cap, does not come out of the cap the same way that your hair comes out of your head. So you have to be really careful. It's really easy to cut bangs too short or cut bangs that are too deep on the sides. So you do want to just be mindful of that and just always do a little bit at a time. You can always do more, but you can't put it back. So Mama told us that when we were 3, right? So, okay. I do have thinning shears here. These are just cheap thinning shears. I probably got them at Sally's or Walmart, and they're not expensive. I'm sure you can find them on Amazon. But you can see that there is a flat side, and then there is a side that has the jagged teeth for thinning. So when you cut down on this, what happens is you really are only cutting like half of the hair. But at the same time, you want to be mindful that whatever is up against the straight edge is going to look a little bit more ragged than anything that you've done against the toothed edge, right? So just be aware of the positioning of your scissors. So what I like to do for Vienna Roast specifically, because I've done this one before, I'm just gonna get her wet again so that I can work with her and see where she's falling. But my problem area with this wig really tends to be like right in the front. And if you like this kind of, this A-line bob, I didn't show you the back, sorry. So if you like this A-line bob styling, then, you know, maybe don't do this. But for me, having this not be in my face is more important than keeping that kind of A-line shape. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take my comb and go to the center of this eyebrow. And from there, I'm gonna go up and just grab maybe 1.5 inches of hair up here. So I am not all the way to the side of my hairline. That's really important. You don't want to go all the way over there. And then I'm just going to comb up everything that's outside of that so I don't accidentally get it. And I'm just gonna clip that up as well. So this is how much hair I have going to the part. That's probably 2 inches here. And over here on this side is maybe 1 inch. So I have like this V section, right? Okay, so I don't want to do this all at once. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna comb this over. I'm gonna see where it's falling, and then I'm gonna see where does the bulk of this start hitting on my face. And it's really right here, right? In this big, like, chunky curl. So what I'm gonna do is just take that front section where that big chunky curl is. I'm separating this again. So it's like right here. But when I stretch that straight, it's almost down to my chin. So you've gotta know on a curly wig, where does it fall when it bounces? Because that's where you need to cut. If I just said, oh, well, that big curl is right next to my nose, so I'm gonna start cutting here, and then I pull the hair down, I'm gonna end up with bangs way up here. So I don't wanna do that. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and pull these down. And then I'm gonna do something that is called over-directing in hairdressing. So instead of pulling the hair to the side where it's gonna go, I'm gonna pull it to the other side. So I'm gonna go ahead and comb this out. And I always wanna work with like a diagonal parting. So let me clip that back out of the way so I don't get into the wrong hair. All right, so you can see I've got from where the part of the wig is, I've made this little diagonal parting that goes to the inside of this eyebrow. So then I can take my little tail comb. We're gonna comb it this way. We know we're going like down to the chin, right, is where we want it. So I'm holding this kind of parallel in a line. So if this is my parting space, then that's the line I'm gonna be cutting in as well. So it's pretty much, if you take like your jawline or where it should be, mine's falling down a little. If you take like your jawline, that's kind of your line. And so then what I'm gonna do is take my thinning shears and I'm going to make sure I turn them so that the jagged teeth are on top. And then I'm just going to gently slice into this on an angle. See, I'm staying on this angle. I'm not cutting straight because that would look really weird. So I'm just gonna start out with a little bit at an angle. I'm gonna cut all the way down, and then I'm just gonna drag my scissors out, and there goes that little bit of hair. So the hair's not cut, right? It's not cut all the way. It just has less volume right here, and that's gonna help it not feel so heavy when it's on this side. So, let me do this second part. And again, you want to just take small partings. I don't know what size these are. I'm just kind of eyeballing it, but I'm staying on that diagonal angle. And so I'm taking the piece I just did, because as I go over, I can kind of see where I did that thing before. And I'm gonna go and try to stay pretty much in the same lane. So again, remember, you want your jagged teeth to be on the top. And I'm just slicing again at an angle and then pulling down. And that just releases that hair that I've thinned. And then now we have our next section. All right, so then I'm just gonna check and see how we're looking. So I'm gonna comb this back over. And you can see how some of that heaviness is gone from the bottom. I don't know if you can see it, but it's not quite up high enough where I would like it to be. So now I'm going to go ahead and take this pin that back. Now I'm going to do something that's probably a little scary for somebody who's never done this before, but I'm going to go in from the bottom and I'm going to start over here by my cheeks. And whoops, I gotta get the right side on top here. So I've got my jagged teeth on the top. I'm gonna go in and just do a little bit of a cut. I'm not cutting down all the way. So just a little, a little, a little, a little, a little. This is a way that you can thin a wig without having like a defined line or a really obvious thinning piece, because you've taken it from multiple lengths, but you haven't cut completely through on any of them. So again, I'm going to take this and I'm going to do the same exact thing. So I'm coming down, and this time I'm going to start, even with tension on this, I'm going to start kind of where my eyebrow is, but this is a really thick section. So essentially what I'm doing, because I'm not cutting all the way through, is I'm mostly thinning the pieces that are behind the front. And what that does is it allows the front a place to go without it looking like super thinned out and different from the rest of the wig. So because long hair lies on short hair, that's basically how layering works. So again, I'm coming down here, starting kind of, and you're cutting at an angle too when you're doing this. So see, I'm going like this, and I'm kind of going kind of parallel to my, well, I don't want to say my hairline, but kind of this angle of my head, I'm going parallel. So I'm going to start right here at the corner of my eye, and I'm just going to go cut a little, cut a little, cut a little, cut a little, and then drag all that excess hair out. So that's all the hair that I took off that side. So let me comb this out again. Yeah, we'll get some more hair out there. So to my eye, it still feels a little bit heavy right here. So again, I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna find that piece that feels kind of heavy and chunky to me. And this is why, you do a little at a time, because if you do a lot, you can't put it back. So again, keep your teeth at the top. And since I'm getting some heaviness right here by my eye line, I'm going to do the same thing. Scissors at an angle, cut a little bit, cut a little bit, cut a little bit, cut a little bit, drag it out, see what you got. So when I'm saying cut a little bit, I mean, I'm not going all the way down with the scissors. I'm only going like maybe here. So maybe not even halfway, maybe just like a quarter of the way, because I don't want to take big chunks of hair out. I want it to be very blended and very effortless, because I'm not trying to change the style. I'm not trying to layer this hair and make it look different. I'm just trying to make it not look so bulky. And so the only way you do that is to take hair out from different lengths in an, like, I don't want to say irregular pattern, because I'm definitely holding them at an angle and doing the same thing, but it's not like obvious. It's not like regular layering where you can see where those layers are, right? You would look at this and you can't even tell that I did anything really, other than when I style it and pull it back, it's not gonna wanna be all up in my face all the time. So here we go. So I'm still seeing some chunkiness in here. And yeah, you should use a comb and all of those things, but I have done this a lot, so it's not scary. All right, so. So that is behaving a lot better, it's falling a lot better, it's just looking a lot better overall. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and take this down and see what I'm dealing with. So I don't know if you can tell, I don't know if this reads on camera, but how much better and more natural looking this looks, how much easier it is for me to just do this and have the hair not come back into my face. Just that little bit that we did has made this wig look not even a fraction as wiggy as it did in the first place, right? So now I'm looking at this side. I don't like the way this curl pattern is like all goes into my head and then flares out. I feel like it needs to be broken up. So what I'm gonna do is take my curling iron, and this is just a cheap Revlon curling iron. The key things that you wanna look for in heat tools for your wig is you wanna look for something that has adjustable heat, which this one does, that goes down preferably under 300 degrees is better than anything. And you want it to be have ceramic coating also, because then it's not going to cause the wig fibers to kind of like stick and burn those fibers. So you don't want that. So you can do this a couple of different ways. You can use the water method so that it's more like steaming. For me, when I'm using a curling iron, I prefer, at least the first time on a wig, to use a heat protectant for wigs. So this is John Renault's Heat Treat Thermal Spray, and I'm just gonna spray this on the side where I'm planning to tweak, and it just protects the wig fibers. So essentially, if I wanted to do it again after, I could just hit it with water and that would be reactivated. So you don't have to use that every time, but especially when the wig is new, I try to do that. So what I'm gonna do is go a little bit further back. I usually don't start at the front. Oh, I'm gonna put on a heat glove so that I don't burn myself, which is usually my custom when I'm styling wigs. I get a lot of burns, sorry. And then I'm gonna take my curling iron, and I don't usually use the clamps, honestly. I usually just use them like a wand. So what I'm gonna do is I wanna kind of direct this back, and I'm just gonna hold it with the heat glove for a few seconds. And then if I let go, you can see I kind of get this loose wave, but it's not very nice, right? It's still kind of wonky at the bottom. So here's a little trick with your curling irons and hot tools in general for heat-friendly wigs. Because sometimes you'll be like, oh, this isn't working at all. It's not really heat-friendly. It doesn't do what I want. But no, just keep in mind that the whole premise of heat styling a wig revolves around the fiber is going to stay in whatever shape it is. Once you heat it, it will stay in the shape that it's in when it's cooled. So you've got to keep the shape until it's cooled. So again, we're gonna go in here, and I'm going to let that sit for a few seconds. But then instead of just letting go, I'm going to actually slide this out, and I'm gonna hold that curl with my hand. So I just basically let it go into my hand, And now I'm gonna slowly let it kind of stretch out. And see how much nicer that looks than the first one. It's got kind of that nice wave. And if I was doing really small curls, I would actually take that little curled handful that I had and like pin it up to my head and not take it out for a little bit. But because these I want to be wavy, I can go ahead and just, you know, hold on to them for a second and then let them go. And usually that's fine. So let's go ahead and do another piece. I don't know how many seconds it is that you're supposed to wait, but I probably don't wait as long as I should. So again, I'm just sliding this off, making sure that I'm holding on to those curls in my hand. I'm gonna let them cool for a few seconds, and then I can let them go. It's my chair, I promise. Oh, I kind of let go of that. Let me put it back. And look, you're not always gonna like the curls you do. You're not gonna get it right the first time every time. Like this, no, that's not staying. So, you know, it's fine if you do it a few times and it's not working for you. Just try something different. You know, you don't have to go the same direction every time. I usually roll a little bit away from the root and then kind of roll back down once I've got it wrapped. And I'm just holding it with my hand because I have this heat safe glove, and then just sliding it off. And little pieces are really hard. I swear to God, people are gonna make memes out of the sound of this chair. It's like, I know that I said that I can't do it, right? It's like this little vinyl stool and it just makes these horrible noises. There it is. So I am a little pickier, especially on these fashion colors, about the pieces around the hairline because they tend to be highlighted in that fashion color, and I want to make sure I get that good money piece pop. So sometimes I'll go in the opposite direction with the hairs that are right around the hairline, just so that I know they're gonna show up. So hey, how's your day going? just hit myself in the eye and poked myself in the eye with that one, so yeah. All right, so once I think I've got it where I want it, I'm gonna go ahead and spray it with water again. I use water, like I carry a little water bottle in my purse so that I can fool with my wigs all day. Water bottle and a wide tooth comb, you should be carrying them when you're wearing a wig. It will solve most of your problems most of the time. All right, so, I mean, you can see, I really, it didn't take a long time. I did not do a lot. And this wig right now, from where it was when we started, like the difference is ridiculous as far as how good this looks. One thing that I will do, I don't know if I kept it in here, probably not. Well, probably got something I can use. So, sorry. I'll be right back. Okay, the next thing you can do is just get a stiff angled brush, and any kind of powder that is remotely close to your skin tone. So like I have these, so I probably will just go ahead and choose either this one or that one. It doesn't really matter. All I'm gonna do is put a little bit of powder into the part, and that is gonna make it look better, especially because it's rooted. So I don't know if I can do this on camera because I can't see, but if you're gonna root your wig, you wanna go ahead, it's already rooted. Sorry. If you want to kind of make your part look a little bit more natural, I'm just gonna clip this down so that I can really get in there and get close to the part. I'm just holding the other side with my hand. So I'm taking a little bit of powder on my brush, just tapping it in, and then I'm just gonna go along the part that I made. And you can see I'm just tapping. I'm not rubbing, I'm not dragging, I'm not doing any of that. I'm just finding where that part line is and just tapping that powder in. I find you really should use a color that is a little bit lighter than your skin tone. If you use something that matches you exactly, it can end up looking pink or orange. So I usually use something that's either, like a really light cream color. I've used even white in a pinch, just depending on how pigmented it is. So I'm just gonna tap all along that part line. You can also pluck your part lines, which is something that I do quite frequently, but for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to do that today. These Belle Tress hairlines are so good that you really don't have to, but it can make your wig look a lot more natural. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with a monofilament wig and not one that is just like regular lace, you can also tear it and put a hole in the monofilament and then it will fray. So you just gotta be careful, and you've gotta be really patient and take your time if you're gonna pluck a monofilament part. With lace parts, I just like take my hands and rip the hair out. I don't, you probably shouldn't do that either. I did not suggest that, just disclaimer. I did not tell you to do that. So again, I'm just going back in. And it doesn't hurt also if you don't want to go like in a straight line. There's nothing that says you can't kind of go into the middle and then just kind of shoot off to the side. But I'm pushing really hard so that I'm staying right there on the scalp and not getting into the hair. But that can help diffuse it as well so that you don't have such a harsh line, because you do, you have more monofilament over here. So you can even take a sideways part and just go ahead and fill that in if you want to have an area that, looks more like a natural hairline. It's nothing that says you can only go one way with this. You can go any way you want to make it look more natural. So for this video, because we're already really long, I'm gonna go ahead and stop here. But yeah, I hope that this was helpful, because this is a really great wig, but it's really unwieldy out of the box, I find. And my verdict on Stardust is, I think it looks great in the video, and I like it in this light. It looks really purple. I'm a little concerned about how the roots look in natural light. So I'll go outside and take a picture, and I'll try to put that at the end of the video. So that's all. I hope this was helpful. I hope you all have a fantabulous day. And once again, this is Megan. I appreciate you spending your time with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.